Do you sometimes feel like there's more of you available, but you don't know what it is or how to access it? I always remember way, way back when I worked in corporate, one of the senior leaders said to me, I'm wasted here. They don't see all my talent. They don't see everything I'm capable of. They're not fully utilizing me. There's so much more of me they could be using, and they're not using it. And I remember being really struck by that. I think, first of all, by his confidence that he knew there was more that he could give. That's not really been my experience of life. I've always assumed that there's less and that I'm not actually as great as all that. And yeah, I'll just play it down, manage expectations by playing it down. And then if people are delighted, then great. So first of all, I was really struck by his confidence and his knowing that there was more that he could do for the business. But I was also struck by this idea of them being more available and having this kind of like really vague connection to that, thinking, wonder if that's true of me too. Like, I wonder if there is untapped potential available here. And then years later, I was sitting in a coffee shop just down the road with my friend and yoga teacher. And it was a time when I was in my own business by this point, but I was working really hard. I was still doing essentially my corporate hours. I was still super busy. I was still, my kids were still in breakfast and after school clubs. So in many ways, it wasn't really like I'd left corporate from a work perspective. See my video about guilt and and doing less and the guilt of stopping, the guilt of rest. That was totally me. Um, so anyway, yeah, so I sat with my friend and yoga teacher and she was like, you don't have to change the world, don't you? You don't have to be a grand, like world revolutionizing coach. And I remember being really struck by it and kind of having a mixed reaction. Instantly, there was relief, in fact. I remember instantly going, oh, oh yeah, oh, oh, thank God for that. But also, it actually made me realize, oh, there is part of me that kind of thinks that is a thing, a want, like that's an option. There is part of me that kind of likes the idea of that. And that stayed with me ever since. Though, to be fair, that relaxation in that moment was incredibly powerful because it really took the pressure off. If ever we're trying to do something, if ever we're trying to be our biggest, best self, that's never usually the best way to go because there's a lot of in there, there's a lot of attachment, identification, and I have to do this so that never ends particularly well. But it had me recognize so I was saying, so in fact that space was super helpful because it dropped that attachment, it dropped that identification, and the space that it opened up meant that actually I was more effective on the other side of it. But yeah, more fundamentally, I think there is, for all of us, more available than gets through. There is more available of us than gets shown in the world. There are so many people who, like me, perhaps think, oh, I'm not sure I'm all that, so I'll play it down a bit and then nobody's disappointed, not least myself. Whereas if we are going to stand up and go, yes, I do this is my thing, this is the difference I make, then instantly we're creating expectation and we will potentially have people for whom that expectation doesn't match with their experience. They will be disappointed. I will feel disappointed in myself that I couldn't help them in the way that I thought I could. And so we hold back from that kind of stepping out and up. There's a journey in itself for us to get really comfortable with disappointment and for being grounded in ourselves with what is available, what's available for us to do, what the differences we actually make in the world. And that in my experience, the more we are grounded into ourselves in all ways and all aspects of who we are, the more naturally we make a difference in others' lives in the way that we'd have always hoped to, because we're being who we're here to be. It's inevitable. But in the meantime, in the journey on the way there, It seems like we're bit by bit by bit getting increasingly comfortable with all experience. Things that perhaps in the past looked unacceptable, we drop fears in relation to, we include in our experience, we see how okay we are with it, and we take our next step of evolution. And so that bit by bit by bit, this more of us that's available gets revealed. So we never really, I mean, if it becomes obvious to say, "Oh, I know what it is, I know my thing, I know the more of me that's available," great, then go shout that from the rooftops. If that doesn't happen, then that's okay too. And bit by bit by bit, as you expand into all experience, then increasingly more and more and more of that you that's available will be revealed and will be expressed in the world naturally. It can't not be. It's all that's left when we drop all the confusions and fears and misunderstandings about who we think we are and how we think we have to be. So if, like me, when I was first talking to that leader way back in corporate days, if when people talk about there being more of them available, or if you have that inkling in yourself that there's more of you available, you're absolutely right. And the journey to that is unraveling all the layers of stuff that have been collected over the top of that, that have made you think that you're not that, that have made you think that your natural expression and your natural capacities and qualities and talents and skills, as well as all the expertise you've picked up along the way, that's what you naturally are. And so you can drop the old stories, you can drop the old childhood fears, you can drop the old attachments to who you think you have to be, and you can come into who you naturally are, your natural aligned expression. It's exactly what you want, and therefore it's exactly what the people who want you want from you. So join us if you want this. We've got the Enlightenment Event. It's happening February till the end of October this year, 24. And it's totally designed for exactly this purpose. So whether you join us in Feb, or whether you drop in during the year, or whether you actually wait and you come in later and you join at that point and you follow the journey behind everybody else, totally fine. You work it the way you want to work it, that feels aligned and good for you, that matches with your way, your unique expression. So let me know if you're interested, if you've got questions. There's a whole bunch of info in the link below. But if anything doesn't make sense, if you want to clarify if it's for you, please get in touch. I would love to help you. Lots of love.